It's a Friday, so you know that means really one thing and one thing only, that we have to start the show this way.
Come on, man.
It's
Go for it, dude.
It's Friday! Friday! Friday!
That is accurate. It's the morning show, SDH AM. John here, you there. Thanks for dropping by. Here's the rundown for the morning as we get you ready for the weekend. First and foremost, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. Second of all, I need to know how you're going to be spending Black Friday. Have you already started shopping? Have you already started doing your things? Have you got your bargains? Are you already good to go? We got to find out that stuff. I tried to do some stuff this morning. Websites were saying, hey, you go here, it's 70% off. You click on, you're looking for discounts. And the 70% off didn't apply, so that got an X out immediately when it comes to getting your shopping done on a Black Friday. That is not how this works. So 10:30, Nino Torres is going to join us. We got some stuff going on in South America as we tour the planet with Nino and our friends from GOLTV. We got to talk about what's going on in Bolivia. Don't know if you saw that video. And also there's stuff going on involving Argentina and Argentinian football that is off the charts. Remember last week we talked about teams turning their back during made-up honor guards. So there's been fallout from that. We got to talk about that. We'll talk about what's going on in Europe, all the things. We got to talk about what happened yesterday in Europa League, Conference League. We'll set you up for the Major League Soccer Conference Finals. We've got all that stuff going on. Also on the board is I'm trying to think. What did I miss? Obviously, news of the morning, all those kinds of things. We've got stuff to get you prepped for the Premier League, all that stuff, working your way forward. First and foremost, though, we get to go back to the NAIA and find out what's going on with Life University. The Running Eagles are involved in the NAIA Nationals that start next week in Orange Beach and in Pensacola, men's and women's. We talked to Coach Palma before Thanksgiving. We're catching up with McGonigle after Thanksgiving to find out what in the wide world of sports is going on the women's side. So what is going on the women's side, Coach? Thanks for dropping by the morning show.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, exciting time for us. We're still playing and it's almost December, which is what you want. So we're getting ready for a trip to Pensacola. We leave on Saturday to start in the Sweet 16 at the final site down there.
When you look at this season coming in, what were your expectations and the team's expectations coming into play this season?
We always want to be competitive on a national level. So at a conference level, we have one of the best teams in the country within our conference. So if we can be competitive there, I feel like we've set ourselves up pretty well to be competitive nationally. And we've done that at the conference level. The goals are always to win as many soccer games as you can and to do it the right way. So we have a really good group of committed girls who have been here since July, sacrificing weekends and family events and early nights or late nights to get themselves ready and to be able to compete week in, week out. And we know that task isn't easy. So I'm just keep begging them right now. It's 2 weeks at the most that you've got to put your head down and work and eat a little bit less turkey yesterday and a little bit less pumpkin pie, and it will all be worth it in the long run. So we've had that group. They've done it. They've continued to do it week in, week out. So I think it is a special group, and getting them to buy into one vision and playing together has been the goal, and it's what they've done.
Was there a moment in this season when you're sitting there thinking, yeah, everything is clicked and pieced together, or has it been this gradual process that you're looking for and peaking at this time of year? How did it look to you from the touchline as they were evolving this season?
I think it's always a process. And I think even now we're still like looking at how can we be better? What can we improve? What can we tweak? And knowing that we've got a good thing going that's been winning, so not wanting to change it completely, but how can we keep evolving? So I think it's a process. I think it's continued to develop. I mean, we've had moments where I felt we played poorly on the road and come out with a win still. So I think although it was a poor performance, I think that's kind of a turning moment, that we're still winning when we're not playing at our best. we've gone and traveled to some tough places in some tough circumstances. We were at a game where the field got flooded 60 minutes into the game, and we're winning and we're up and we've got momentum. But we want to see the game. It's not going to be an official game if we don't wait it out. And then what does that look like for the last 30 minutes of the game? But the sort of professionalism and the maturity through the whole season from this group has been fantastic. And I think those are the pieces that have helped us develop and grow. And we've got some really good senior leaders, some girls that have been with the program for 4 years, some girls that have transferred in as fifth-year seniors who have just helped grow us. So I think it's been a process, and I think it continues to be a process, and we continue to learn. And I think the development piece of all of it, the coaching staff, the players, is been massive within our growth.
When you look at the roster, I believe it's 6 countries outside the United States that are also a part of the roster. There's a great Georgia contingent as well, and there's Southeastern U.S., but there's also, I think, half a dozen countries, 6 or 7 other countries from the other side of the Atlantic that have integrated to be a part of the roster this year. How difficult is that when you've got half a dozen countries and players that grow up with ideas and systems that are might be more country based than what they're used to? Then they come over here, and then you have to take all of those different sections and all those different ingredients and turn it into that roux that you're looking for. How difficult is it to take all these different pieces and piece it together like that?
I think I'm in my 3rd season here now. I think we have our core. So the core each year of what we're trying to do, who we want to be, what kind of our core principles are, is going to be the same. And then we add in these different pieces, and can they fit into that core? And then what else do they bring? I always say, it's a puzzle every fall that I have to put together. And the core of it will be the same. We're going to have these principles that who we are, what we do, but how do the pieces fit together now? Because the puzzle looks different to what it did last year, even in the last spring. I think because we have that core, I think the transition in is easier. Like, these are the things that we're not swaying from. But different players from different places can add different things. And we think that's important as well. We have got a really good core group of Georgia girls, and we've made an effort to recruit the local player just because there's such good soccer here and there's so much of it. So that's kind of built now, which is great, and that keeps ticking over each year. And then what can we add in? We're always just looking for the best soccer player we can find. And I always say, we get asked a lot, what are you looking for position-wise? Yeah, we have certain needs in the recruiting cycle each year that we need to find. But if you've got a really good soccer player and she's a left back, and we have returned our left back, I'm sure we're going to find a way to put the puzzle together differently to get them both in the system. So we're just looking for good soccer players, good people that want to buy into hard work and grinding and winning games and trying to be competitive each year.
18-2-1 heading down to the Nationals, and you're averaging about 5 goals a match. And the thing that was staggering to me is that it's 25.5 shots per match, just under 5 goals per match. And you've only given up 16 goals this season so far in your first 21 matches. Time to brag on the team a little bit. What's it like? Let me start with defense. Defense has only given up those 16 goals. What's it like to have a defense that has been as locked down as your defense has been this year?
Yeah, we've got a great group of girls there that are committed to blocking shots, heading balls, staying organized and compact, not giving much away. And we have a really good goalkeeper behind them. I always tell them, like, I do not want my goalkeeper to be the star of the show, because that means we're giving up too much. But she's been superb throughout the whole season, and she has been a star. So we have her, which helps for sure. But we've got 3 to 5 girls that we've got in that defensive rotation in that back line right now who have just been solid and committed. But we run our defense from our front line. Like, we're putting pressure on the ball high. We're making those forwards work. And work. And without that work, the back line doesn't get to do what they do. So I think it is a whole group of 11 players that are defending for us. And I think sometimes we talk about people coming in and these forwards coming in looking at me like I'm crazy that they're going to have to do so much defensive work. But I think if you can keep the ball out of the net, then you're in any soccer game you want. And that's what they've done really, really well. So we're always looking every time we give up a goal, like what went wrong there. But yeah, we haven't given up many. And I think that's really allowed us to stay in every single soccer game we've been in.
3 players double digits in scoring, and one of them is a senior from Middlesbrough. You got 2 Georgians that are your other 2 double-digit goal scorers, but your leading scorer this year is Sasha Millward, 26 goals on the season. And the thing is, she's only started 9 games of the 21 that you've played so far, and she's got 26 goals on the board.
Yeah, she's a starter. So we have a rotation of players, and
Okay.
she's in that rotation. So she is. I'm fighting for her for all conference and awards within our conference. It's a tactical decision to do that. I just told you we work so hard with that front line defensively. If we can kind of weather the game for 15, 20 minutes there, tire the other team out, and then put Sasha in, she's just had so much success at scoring goals in those moments. And she works defensively as well. But if we think about her being our most clinical finisher right now, if we can take away the first 15 minutes, the speed that gets put on your legs there, and it's a little bit more frantic and it's a little bit of a boxing match, if we can take that off her workload, she plays starting minutes each game. Every big game we're in, whether she starts or not, she's 60, 70 plus minutes. She just doesn't get that start. So it's a really tactical decision, which Sasha understands and has bought into. We've had her in our starting group for the last couple of matches, just because I also know that we get a chance in that first 15 minutes, and who do I want it to fall to right now? And it would be Sasha. So I think we're still, again, developing and growing and playing around with things there. And I think each game we're looking at what we think is best tactically. But that's been that decision there to not start her. So she's had starting minutes, but she's just come from off the bench.
Yep. Meg McGonigle, women's head coach at LifeU, hanging out with us here to kick off Freestyle Friday as she gets ready for a roadie to go down to Nationals in Pensacola in the NAIA starting next week. And I think, 22 different goal scorers this year to put, that's a lot of different numbers and names that you've got to keep up with stats with in that G category.
Yeah, we've been lucky that our first rotation of players have done the job. And just with how college rules and soccer is, we can rotate through as many players as we want through that game, through the regular season. So it's given us the opportunity to see more players and get them in the game. And I think that speaks to them buying into what we do, understanding our process, understanding that their time will come, and then taking those minutes when they come. So we've had a really good group. We've got a good freshman class this year who are learning and experiencing and growing and have gone through this whole process with us. So I think by next year, they're going to be really eager, ready and hungry. But a lot of them have stepped up in those moments and found goals and found stats, and it's been fantastic to see.
So for someone who hasn't had the chance to catch you either on video or in person this year, how would you describe what you want to do when things are going your way? Say whistle blows, everything's rolling, and you're getting done what you want to get done. How would you describe what you want to do philosophically for someone who's never seen you this year?
Yeah, I think we're really defensively organized. So I think that's kind of one of our core principles, that we will work hard defensively. We're transition back. We're going to get numbers behind the ball. And part of that defense is going out and being the aggressor when we haven't got it. So we go chase down a lot of balls that people might leave. We step up as high as we can. We have an emergency almost exit plan to get organized and get back if we need to. When we've got the ball, we like to possess, but I think it has to have a purpose. We don't need to connect 400 passes within a game if it's not getting us anywhere. And I think that speaks to how many shots we're getting off a game. Like, we have a purpose with our possession. We've tried to be a little bit more concentrated on our set pieces, where I think that was something we missed last fall with just having success in being dominant there. And we've got a few girls right now who are serving good balls and putting them into good areas, and then girls that will go chasing down. So I think, defensively organized, hardworking, possession with a purpose, like to go to the goal, like to make it exciting to watch. No one wants to watch us pass the ball around the back for 20 minutes. So if we can go forward, we will. But it's not kick and run soccer. I think we've got a plan, and if we need to be direct, we can be. If we can play through the lines, we'd rather be that team. But we'll play whatever the opponent gives us, and we talk about that a lot. And that's kind of a problem-solving piece that we put on ourselves as a coaching staff and put on the team. Like, how do we solve this problem right now to get to the goal? And we've got a number of ways that we can do it.
Is it safe to say that Guardiola would be an idea where if you're on the front foot, then if you lose possession, you give yourself 5 seconds. And then if you don't, you go back to your emergency exit strategy to try to group and get the ball back.
Yeah, we talk about it as controlled and uncontrolled moments. So a controlled moment would be like a goal kick. Okay, we can set ourselves up exactly player for player, spot to spot, how we want to be to go step up to press. An uncontrolled moment would be that what you're talking about there, that lost possession. And are we set to press right now? Are we high enough? Has our back line moved high enough? If it is, we can go. And if not, then we got to get it controlled again to be able to go again. So I wouldn't say we're talking 5 seconds to go get it back, but we have similar principles in what we want to do there.
As the 12th seed coming into the tournament, you made it out of round number 1, and it was a 2-0 win over Tennessee Wesleyan over at Marathon. What did you learn about yourself in that match that's carried forward to December 1st? And you get the late night game with John Brown. But what did you learn about yourself in round 2 with Tennessee Wesleyan?
I think we learned that we've got good depth. We used a lot of players in that game. A lot of girls stepped up to have good minutes. Dallas Tapia stepped up to help us get that first goal. She came off the bench. She's one of those players as well that could be in our starting lineup. She's for sure in our rotation, plays big minutes for us. She's come off an injury that she had earlier in the fall, but she's really found her feet now. So to see her step up in that moment as a local sophomore was awesome to see. I think it's good for us to play on the grass. We're so used to playing on turf to get down to Marathon and have the grass. Was good. The field was a good big size. So I think it's going to be similar to what we see in Pensacola in terms of that. But the girls did it. They didn't shy away from the stage. We talked about it just being another soccer game and us wanting this game when we were talking about things in August and July, and to not get scared of that pressured moment. We saw a really different system of what Tennessee Wesleyan did, and helping them problem solve that was awesome, and watching them do that. So I think it was a really good, well-rounded performance from the whole team. Got the goals that we needed to get, and I think that was going to be our biggest thing. Can we score the goal? I felt like we kept them away from our net, pretty much controlled most of the game. But they managed the game well. We got the early first half goal, and then managed to get a one at a good time in the second half. So I felt like we controlled it all, and I felt like it was a really good moment for them to step up as a group and learn and not shy away from that moment, which they didn't.
Looking at the round of 16, it's a lot of chalk. A lot of the top 16 seeds have made their way through. When you're looking at a team like John Brown, or when you're going into a tournament like this, how far back do you go when you're looking at tape, when you're trying to look at tendencies on an opponent, something like that? I mean, some folks may go back to the beginning of the year. Some folks may go back to if you've played them before. When you're trying to figure out an opponent, how far back do you go?
Yeah, and I have played them before. I was in Missouri for a long time, so that was a matchup that we found there in our non-conference. I think maybe even every year I was there. So I know the coach, respect her. She does a great job year in, year out with that program. They've just been consistently on that national level. So kind of know tendencies that she has. And then you got to see what the personnel is for the year. I will watch any film that anyone will give me for this season of them. And just try and study as much as possible so that we know, okay, maybe it's not gone their way, but what could be a change that they go to because they've done it in the season before. But we're trying to work out personnel, we're trying to work out strengths, trying to work out weaknesses. We're obviously looking at their system, but yeah, anything from the year that I can get my hands on, I'll watch. So we've done a lot of that, me and my staff, over the last week. But yeah, so I think in terms of what we know about them, kind of have this idea, and then really narrowing down on who they are this year is really important.
So if anyone out there has any tape or any intel on John Brown, please reach out to Coach McGonigle at herlife.edu email address. When when you're in this kind of a situation and you've got questions, it's like, okay, I'm stuck. I'm like in the mud here. I don't know where I should proceed with something philosophically or how to attack a player. How big is your speed dial when it comes to asking questions of either friends who are in the industry or fellow coaches? How big is your speed dial, and who's on it when you've got questions as a coach?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I have my immediate staff, so the people that are my assistants right now who know our team the best and who are doing what I do. So we've met earlier in the week last week, and everyone's kind of got their own scouting report, and I'll try and be quiet for the first, and it's hard for me to be quiet, I like to speak, first 15 minutes of that, and let them tell me what they've seen. And then we're slowly putting together a profile of what all of our opinions are, which can be different as well, which is also really, really good, to put together what our game plan should be and how we want to attack and how we want to defend it. We've got the men's staff as well, who like both programs work. They're different things, but we're both coaching soccer and we're both watching each other's team and program and problem solving. So we've got them that we can go bounce ideas off. My mentor has been John Klein, who's at Southeast Missouri right now. I was with him, played for him at Columbia College for 2 years and then worked for him for 7 years. He's someone that I called before our conference final game and said, hey, what do you do in this you were losing the game 1-0, last 10 minutes of the game, what's your plan? And like just little things like that. So my husband coached college soccer, so I've got him and someone that I can sit down and eat dinner with and say, well, you watched our group last night, what did you think? And so I have a great network of people around me that know soccer, know college sports, know sports, and you learn so much different things from different people. I coach a U15 club team, which completely different level and speed, but I'm learning stuff from that game sometimes and then thinking, oh, wait a minute, that would actually transition into this. I just like to be around the game and around like-minded people as much as possible. So I think that helps me. I think it keeps me grounded a little bit and lets me know what is a stress and what shouldn't be a stress sometimes when you're looking at little nitpicky things. So I've got a really good group of people around me that can help with those sort of problems.
Yeah, I just have this vision now that you and your husband are having spaghetti dinner, salad, spaghetti and everything, and you guys are sitting there and you're either talking about what's going on or you're not talking about what's going on after a loss, or what is that dynamic like? Where is there a line of like, okay, we'll talk about it up until we get to halfway through dinner. We'll talk about it through the salad and maybe a little bit into the main course, but we get to halfway point in dessert, we're not talking about it anymore.
He's pretty good. He did college soccer, so he gets the grind of what the season looks like. He comes and watches our games as much as possible, and he enjoys that. I have an opinion, which I value, so that's good. But no, I don't think our personal life can still be our personal life. We don't get stuck on Life Youth Soccer too much. But he's just someone who has coached at a high level, played at a high level, who knows the game, and who I can ask X, Y, and Z from, and he'll give me his opinion on that. Whether I think it's right or wrong is a different question, but I value a different opinion. And even if I think it's wrong, I tell this to my assistants, even if I think you're wrong, and I might tell you, no, I don't think that's right, I promise you I'm going to be thinking about it now, whether it's the next day or I go on my run or whatever I'm doing, sat in the office, it's at least in my head. And sometimes I might come around and be like, no, actually, I think you're right. So I do truly value an opinion that's not mine.
Well, we cannot wait to see what's going to go down in Pensacola with you and with Orange Beach with Coach Palma, as both life teams have made it into the round of 16, kicking off on December 1st. You've got the late game, which is always good. You can sit there and stare at everybody else, and you're looking for as many overtimes and penalty kick shootouts as humanly possible, especially in the 4 o'clock game, which would be your next go-round on December 4th in the quarters. Coach, thanks for dropping by, especially on a holiday weekend, Black Friday. I know you're getting ready to pack and throw about 9 days worth of clothes into suitcases before you hit the buses. Thanks for dropping by the morning show. Safe travels. Good luck. We'll be keeping an eye. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There goes Meg McGonigle. She's the women's head coach at Life U, and they're getting ready to hop on they're going to hop on the PJ, I guess. They're going to hop on their PJ and go down to Pensacola. Life U's men's team, Coach Palma, they're going to hop on their PJ and head down to Orange Beach. And that's the rundown for Life U in the NAIA tournament. So let's go over, since we're there, we'll go over the NAIA tournament really quickly. We're going to catch up with men's head coach Steve DeCoux from Georgia Gwinnett. That's going to be at 9:30 on Monday morning. That's their match day. So we're catching up with him. I imagine he will have had breakfast, and basically he's going to come and hang out with us at 9:30 on Monday. So it's going to be Abe, Steve DeCoux, head coach at Georgia Gwinnett. Then it's going to be Bart at 10 o'clock, and then we'll get you ready for the rest of the day. We'll talk about what happened over the weekend, kind of weave that through the show with Abe off the top, and then we'll get you ready for your Monday and your Tuesday. But that's what Monday's show is going to look like. as we start yet another week. But let's go over NAIA really quickly and let you know what's going on. It's going to be starting on Monday. So it's like I've got all of these legal pads and notebooks. I know y'all are surprised. Happy birthday, Ricky, by the way. It is going to be Monday is when everything kicks off for the NAIA. And so on the women's side, once again, Marion the 1 and Taylor the 16 at 10 a.m. Mid-America Nazarene, Oklahoma Wesleyan the 8 at 1 o'clock. College of Idaho the 4, Cumberland's Kentucky at 4, and Life the 12 and John Brown there at 7 o'clock. That's your round of 16 on December 1st. Monday, December the 2nd, the right-hand side of the bracket, William Carey out of the southern states. They are the 1 o'clock taking on Embry-Riddle of Arizona. Truett McGonigle, we had the great conversation with Coach McDowell the other day, back on Wednesday. They're going to take on Grace of Indiana at 10 o'clock. Indiana Wesleyan, the 3, and Kaiser of Florida, who knocked out Georgia Gwinnett's women's team. That's going to be at 4. And Lindsey Wilson in Missouri Valley, that's going to be round of 16 on the right-hand side of the bracket on Tuesday the 2nd. So that's going to be the rundown for the NAIA. Good morning. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Like I said, the rundown is as it is. We're going to get you ready for the weekend. We're going to get you ready for what happened yesterday. We'll talk about all of that, go through the juice boxes in Europa League, Conference League, and all of the news of the morning. We'll get you set up for MLS, for the MLS Conference Finals. You'll hear in a bit from Mikey Veras, the head coach of San Diego FC, and you're going to hear from Pascal Janssen, the head coach at NYCFC, as they get ready for both Messi and Friends and for Vancouver Whitecaps, respectively. And yes, somewhat selfishly, yes, we are going to play the goal call again from our friend Adrian Garcia Marquez. That leads us into covering those matches on the weekend. Like I said, we've got news and things that we'll get into as well. There's some stuff to get into. Obviously, the Premier League, Liverpool losing again in the midweek, and alarm bells are turning into a 5 o'clock, turning into a 5-alarm fire. It's almost like when you watch Emergency, when you are, in the reruns or whatever your favorite fire show is, Chicago Fire, whatever. That's where it is right now with Liverpool. It's a 5-alarm fire, and you're trying to get as many folks to the pump and to the hoses as humanly possible. Arne Slot had apparently a meeting with the front office, and it was, how do we phrase? It was probably somewhat heated. He and Arne Slot is defiant, is what the words are that are being used about his continued work at Liverpool. Quoting him from his press conference this morning, and it's got to be a matchup this weekend with West Ham where you pretty much need to win it, but you can't lose it. And so at his morning press conference, quote, it would also be nice if we reward ourselves in the moments we play well, because people are very focused and correctly about the parts we don't play well. There are definitely large parts of the games that we do play well and do create a lot of chances. We tend to forget to reward ourselves in those moments. Every small mistake or small error immediately leads to us conceding a goal. And next question about the team confidence. I don't see it being low when we start the game. I didn't even see it being low after we conceded the first goal in the 4-1 loss to PSV. Even when we conceded the 2-1 and again had a disappointment, we were able to generate enough chances. But after they scored the 3-1, I could see it hurt the players, and that wasn't the period where our fighting spirit was the best in the game, to say it mildly. After the 3-1, it is very difficult to get a message across when I'm on the sideline, but before the game and during halftime, I think the message comes across to them. If I see how we create our chances, it is a lot of the things we train on and what is in the meeting, but unfortunately it doesn't lead to goals, and that's difficult for them, for me, for everyone. But the message that comes across is very clear for me, the way we generate our chances. So Arne Slot, he's pretty much going to stay the course, and it is that's how it's laid out. Cole Palmer is available to start against Arsenal this weekend, and a couple of other things overseas to kind of start the conversation. We'll get into juice boxes for the Premier League here in a second. The UK has submitted a bid to host the 2035 Women's World Cup. It is somewhat massive in all of the moving parts that are attached to it. They're looking at England, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. joint bid, largest single sport event ever staged in the UK for the 2035 World Cup. So 2027, we got that figured out. 2031, in March, I believe, at the meeting in Vancouver, it is set to be announced that the United States will be the host for the Women's World Cup in 2031. And I believe there's going to be some other countries that will be attached. But 2031, the announcement for the Women's World Cup for the United States. So 2035 is now on the clock. And Ellen White, Linus's leading goal scorer, described the bid as really special, compared it to her experience of the 2012 Olympics as a part of Team GB. The bid in and of itself, 15 cities and 22 stadia are in the mix, including the new imagined stadium in Birmingham that has the 12 chimneys and is supposed to be seen from 40 miles away on a clear day. So 63 million people, the FA are saying, are going to be within 2 hours of a venue. The final stadium list will come down to between 14 and 16. So among the 22 stadia proposed for a potential host venues for a tournament 8 times bigger than the 2022 Euros, some are undergoing redevelopment. And once again, the new proposed stadium at Birmingham, as revealed by The Guardian, also the new Manchester City, the new Old Trafford. Any new Chelsea stadium would also come into consideration, as would Stamford Bridge and Wrexham's stadium if redeveloped to meet FIFA requirements. 16 of the stadia are in England, 3 in Wales, 2 in Scotland, 1 in Northern Ireland, 15 host cities. The bid officially lists 16, counting Trafford as distinct from Manchester. So new Old Trafford would be 16, separate from Manchester elsewhere. So the FA CEO, Mark Bullingham, said 63 million people live within 2 hours of a match venue. So we think it brings together the whole country, recognizable cities and stadia that we have. 22 stadia whittled down to between 14 and 16. Clubs and local councils and hosting matches stand in stark contrast to the picture before England held the 2022 Women's Euros. Bullingham said they really had to persuade some cities and stadia to come in, not this time around. And so it's looking like the FA, the Irish FA, the Scottish FA, and the FA of Wales are the sole bidders for the 2035, 2031, U.S., Mexico, Jamaica, Costa Rica, and Brazil is the host of the 27. The bid book for the UK will be published on the website today at some point, if it's not already there. I haven't looked yet. And the vote on the hosts for the 31 and the 35 will be made at the FIFA Congress in Vancouver. Okay, so it's April 30th. April 30th is when they have the vote for the 2031 and the 2035. So FIFA Congress in Vancouver in late April. So that's what you're staring at with all of the new bids and the bid cities and things like that for the 2035 bid for the UK and their mega bid from all across the planet. Apparently, as of 40 minutes ago, Iran is going to boycott next week's draw at the Kennedy Center in protest at the limited allocation of visas. It has been permitted by U.S. officials. Iranian Football Federation spokesman Amir Mehdi Alavi told the domestic sports news outlet Taraf Dari, the Iranian delegation, quote, will not be present for the World Cup draw in relation to the latest status of issuing visas for the Iranian delegation to attend the draw ceremony. And it's U.S. has had long-standing strict visa restrictions, according to The Guardian, on Iranians for political and security reasons. Alavi said the U.S. had granted visas to 4 members of the Iranian delegation, including head coach Amir Khalanoui, but had not granted a visa to Mehdi Taj, the president of the Iranian Football Federation. Federation said it had been in contact with FIFA for 2 days and informed Gianni Infantino and the Secretary General. FIFA has said it will follow up on the matter seriously. Alavi has added Iran secured qualification back in March with the draw with Uzbekistan in Tehran, sealing their 7th appearance at the tournament and 4th in a row. That is from our friends at Reuters. Yesterday in the Europa League, yes, we did have some stupidity down here. We absolutely did. We had some stupidity down here, and it was at the young boys match with Villa. And so here's what broke down yesterday for those of you that might have missed it. Europa League win over young boys at Villa Park. Supporters of the Swiss side threw items including broken seats and coins at Villa players and police officers. Daniel Malin was struck on the head, and according to the Independent, he was he was cut open, struck on the top of his head by a cup thrown from the away end as the Young Boys fans, they were getting hot. And Young Boys manager Gerardo Schwan apologized for the crowd trouble, but claimed that the club supporters were provoked by Daniel Malen. Malen scored twice in the first half. Netherlands International was left bleeding after he was pelted with objects, according to the Independent. Celebrated both goals in front of the Young Boys supporters. Match was halted for more than 5 minutes after Malen's second goal, as the Young Boys captain Loris Benito appealed to supporters to calm down. Fans also clashed with police. Images captured some fans throwing punches. Officers in riot gear deployed in the second half. Swiss team has a history of fan trouble, hit with several sanctions from UEFA in recent years. Supporters were fined €28,250 for a similar incident at Manchester City and around €18,000 for the use of pyrotechnics at Celtic in February, while they were ordered to play a game behind closed doors last season after fans let off pyro in a match against Inter Milan. The Young Boys manager, Schwan, said in his post-match presser, "Normal when you score, you want to be with your teammates. Maybe it was a small provocation by Malen. I don't know. Maybe our fans took it this way, but our fans should not react so heavily." The referee asked our captain to go with the supporters, and he was going to go there to calm them down a bit. Some supporters came down to have a talk, but some police reacted like they were going to jump on the pitch, but this was not the intention. It's a pity from the provocation to thinking they would jump on the pitch, and the result is not nice for anybody. We apologize. I don't feel good. It's not how we want to act when we are guests somewhere, and I think nobody wins, and I think everybody loses from this situation. And there's a picture from Getty Images of Daniel Malen, and the cut looks like it's about an inch long from the cup that was thrown. Aston Villa manager Unai Emery confirmed Malen was okay, saying, quote, "We need respect for both sides. Not necessary to get a moment like we had today. Respect for both sides," end quote. So that was the one of the bigger moments from yesterday. And Superintendent Paul Miner said, quote, "We won't tolerate violence of any kind at football matches. The majority of the crowd was in good spirit, but unfortunately a small minority of large minority? Is there such thing as a large minority? A small minority of away fans caused violence, disrupted the game. They're going to look at the CCTV, and the previous fines were mentioned as well." So that's the shenanigans and silliness and stupidity down here that happened yesterday with everything involving Europa League. Other Europa League scores, just for the record, yesterday in Europa League, it was 2-1 with Aston Villa over Young Boys. We mentioned that with Daniel Malen. Also on the board, it was Porto shutting out Nice. Fenerbahce down to 10. They held on for a draw with Ferencváros. Celtic, no problem with Feyenoord. Lille over Dinamo Zagreb. Ludogorets in a shootout, winning 3-2 over Celta de Vigo. Draw with PAOK and Braun. Roma 2-1 over Midtjylland. Victoria Pilsen and Freiburg a goalless draw. Bologna 4-1 over Salzburg. Red Star with a red card beat FCSB 1-0. Stuttgart shutout go away Eagles 4-0. Genk a winner. Lyon with Maccabi Tel Aviv won 6-0 in that one. Nottingham Forest 3-0 over Malmo. Panathinaikos over Sturm 2-1. Rangers and Braga played 10v10, finished up 1-1, and Real Betis was 2-1 over Utrecht. So your standings in the Europa League after match day 5, top 8, you have 3 teams at 12 points, separated by 4 goals in goal difference: Lyon, Midtjylland, and Aston Villa. Freiburg at 11 points, Betis at 11 points, Ferencváros at 11 points, and you have to go to like the 19th tiebreaker because you have goal difference. Freiburg and Betis have scored the same number of goals. And then you have Ferencváros, who's a goal behind in goal difference. Braga, Porto, and Genk are 7, 8, and 9. They're all at 10 points. Then you go down to 24, who would not advance past the group stage right now. Ludogorets, Razgrad, Young Boys, Go Ahead Eagles, Sturm, Salzburg, Feyenoord, FCSB, Utrecht, Rangers, Malmo, Maccabi Tel Aviv, and Nice, who is 0-5 and are -8 in goal difference. So that went down yesterday. So Conference League yesterday, once again, nothing like 18 matches going on all at once. Let's get into the winners. Strasbourg beat Crystal Palace by the score of 2-1. Winners, AZ Alkmaar, Hamrun over Lincoln Red Imps. Zrinjski over Haken. Leka winner. Ammonia Nicosia 2-0 over Dynamo Kyiv. Rakov Shostakova, a 4-1 win. Sigma Olomouc got a win. Slovan Bratislava beat Rayo Vallecano. Craiova over Mainz. Aberdeen drew Noah. Welcome to Aberdeen, Lutz Pfannenstiel. Breidablik and Samsonspor drew. Drita and Skengia. Drita got the win over Skengia, and that was one of our picks of the week. AEK over Fiorentina. Draw Rijeka and Larnaca. Jagiellonia, Cyprus, and KUPS 1-0. Sparta Prague 1-0 over Legia Warsaw. Strasbourg a winner. Shakhtar beat Shamrock Rovers. So your top 8 in the Conference League. Samsonspor, Strasbourg, each with 10 points. Celje, Shakhtar, Mainz, though they're at 9 points. Goal difference is the separator. 4 teams at 8. Rakov and Larnaca. Rakov has more goals scored. Drita and Jagiellonia are at +2, and they're also at the same number of goals scored. So the 19th tiebreaker gives it to Drita. They are 8. Jagiellonia is the 9. Plenty of teams at 7 points and so on and so forth. The ones that are having problems right now and need to get some wins: Skengia, Lincoln, Kyiv, Dynamo Kyiv, Legia Warsaw, Slovan Bratislava, Hamrun, Haken, Breidablik, Aberdeen, who is 0-2-2 after 4 matches, and they've only scored 3 goals. They've given up 10. Shelbourne, Shamrock Rovers, and Rapid Vienna. So that would be right now, if the competition ended today, what you're staring at in all of those competitions. All right. So that is taking us through all of the European competitions from yesterday. Now, we've got a couple of things to get into with news and stuff, and then we'll kind of drift into covering the MLS conference finals. Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United. Update there. Mike Ashley decided that he wanted to give his opening bid to pick up Sheffield Wednesday for pennies on the dollar. It was reported to be 20. It looks like it was more like 10 million pounds. And there was this story that was floated yesterday. And the idea was out there. And the possibility, and like I said, this was something that I saw and I was instantly shocked. Sheffield Wednesday was given an inquiry about merging with their crosstown rival, Sheffield United. I saw this and I was like, are you serious? To me, and I guess this is opening kickoff, 45 minutes into the show. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. And here's your QR code. You start your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You go there, you start your day there, you buy out the store. We want you to buy out the store. But you can buy out the store at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com at a 15% discount if you use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvested into youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Now, Sheffield Wednesday and Sheffield United. For those of us here in this footprint, this would be what? Like Iron Bowl? If somebody was so bad off financially and the University of Alabama education system was not interested in salvaging the economics of one, and they were just going to let them kind of hang on the vine. The idea that, yeah, we'll go ahead, and so the NCAA or the SEC or somebody would float the idea, Paul, of Auburn and Alabama merging as an institution. That's what this sounded like to me. Like Georgia and Georgia Tech merging for whatever reason. Alabama and Auburn would probably be more accurate just because of the amount of hatred that the two have when it comes to athletics. So if we were to take Iron Bowl and turn that into the same kind of a thing, someone actually floated the notion, hey, Sheffield Wednesday, why don't we just merge you with Sheffield United? And I'm quite sure that the first response from anybody attached to Sheffield Wednesday was like, blank you and the horse you rode in on. Literally, that was an inquiry that was received when it comes to all of this. Wednesday are for sale. We know this. Asking price from Defon Chansiri and from the administrators, really, is about 30 million pounds. So it's like almost 40 million bucks. This is the downside of wearing a hat that's got the beanie on top. It just grinds into your head. Asking price about 40 million bucks. Not to mention the infrastructure and everything else that you'd have to do to invest to get everything back up to snuff. Daily Mail and Sky reported that one interested party had suggested a merger. Immediately rejected. Multiple publications, including The Telegraph, claim the American owners of United, COH Sports, sent an email to Begbie's trainer, the administrators, inquiring about the sale. That approach was not denied by COH when they addressed fans in a statement on Wednesday morning, reiterating their ambition to take the club back to the Premier League. Merger, meanwhile, has not been ruled out as a spoof by Sky, and it would reportedly not be supported by the EFL or the football regulator. Chris Wilder was asked for his thoughts on the report after they beat 10-man Portsmouth midweek. Chris Wilder said, quote, "My job's hard enough in terms of where we were at and where we were trying to get to, and everything will be dealt with by CEO Steve Bettis and the owners. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm absolutely fully 100% concentration and committed to looking after the players and getting the team hopefully up the table into a position where we want to be and should be," end quote. Sky Sports have also reported that COH are not among the 5 potential buyers who Wednesday's administrators are progressing the process with. Wednesday hope to grant exclusivity by December 5th. Co-administrator Chris Wigfield said last week 12 parties demonstrated proof of funds of 50 million pounds have already been granted access to the data room. Reported by The Telegraph, Mike Ashley made an offer of around 20. Until Wigfield, a Wednesday season ticket holder since '84, came in, players' wages had been delayed for 5 of the previous 7 months under Defon Chansiri. Bottom of the championship, no surprise, on -4 points, 17 points adrift. And COH has been contacted. Both clubs have been contacted for comment by the news agencies. They have yet to respond. So Ricky is saying that it's probably closer to USC and UCLA. But just the idea, and obviously they'd play either at the Rose. They would play either at the Mausoleum or at SoFi. And these days they'd probably play at SoFi. Understood representatives for COH were among 80 parties to make initial calls to administrators over the last month or so. Details of what was proposed by the party claiming to represent COH are unclear, but the prospect of bitter rival clubs belonging to the same stable can all be ruled out, according to The Telegraph. Deal-making sources subsequently played down the likelihood of any further inquiries from COH. Previously reported by The Telegraph, U.S.-based billionaire investor John McAvoy is among leading candidates. McAvoy's wide-ranging portfolio includes a minority stake in various artists. That's the management giant, not just like various artists, but that's the name of the company, which counts Sheffield band Reverend and the Makers in their stable. COH, led by businessmen Stephen Rosen and Helmi El-Tuki, have only been officially in control since December last year. They have 100% ownership at United, ending Saudi Arabian Prince Abdullah bin Mossad bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud's 5-year spell as sole owner. Rosen's the founder and chair of Resilience Capital Partners. El-Tuki chairs biotech company Guardant Health. United COH owners declined to address the approach in a letter to supporters published Wednesday. Statement from the co-chairman said fans, quote, "Be under no illusion. Bringing regular Premier League football to Sheffield United is why we are here. We are working as hard as we can to further modernize the club so that it's in the strongest position to compete. This journey is a marathon, not a sprint. Like all clubs, there has certainly been some ups and downs. However, our goals and commitment remain in the same day as the day we walked in," end quote. So I don't know. It's probably a non-denial denial. or a non-confirmation confirmation. By not saying something about something that you might have done, I'm guessing it's a non-confirmation confirmation or a non-denial. I think it's probably more a non-denial denial. But yeah, seeing that, I was like, really? Okay, good job. That's really not how you want to do things. So that's in play. Hopefully not, for the sake of both of those fan bases. Getting into this weekend, Major League Soccer, they are going to be doing their thing. It is going to be the conference finals. And as a public service, we'll probably recap what's going on, what happened in the conference semis to get us to this particular point. And we'll start by going backwards a little bit. Just once again, as a public service, if you missed it the last time out, courtesy of our friends at Jammin' 95.7 in San Diego and our friend Adrian Garcia Marquez, here was the one goal that got San Diego into the last game in the Western Conference for the year 2025.
El Capitan, scanning for openings, leaves it for Christopher McVeigh. Back to Yepe. Yepe lifts it, trying to get it into the area for Corey Barrett, who heels it back. Andres Dreyer! Goal! Goal! And it's El Paletero delivering again. Ta-dum, pa-dum, pum, pa-dum, pum, pum. Ah! Paletero reign in San Diego. He cracked it. G-O-L-A-Z-O. Goal. Golazo. Anders Dreyer. Always on fire. Qué clase de paletero. Qué clase de jugador Darren Smith. When you need your MVP paletero shows up when you need him most.
Yep, he certainly did that. So it's 1-0 your final. Here's Mikey Veras, as he was asked this week about getting ready for this matchup against Vancouver Whitecaps, courtesy of San Diego FC, their own selves.
Yeah, it's playoff football. So you're going to go against really well-coached teams with good players, a lot of discipline and commitment for what they do. And it's about making plays, and I think the boys did that in multitudes, and it continues to be that. Like, you have 2 days to prepare the next game. We know it's a different type of game picture. Vancouver will come to go toe-to-toe a little bit more, so we'll need to be prepared for that. But the most important thing is that the guys trust all the work that's been done up until now. We take care of 2 to 3 most important details that we think will give us an advantage, and then they go out there and leave it all on the field.
Go ahead. And then just defensively, obviously the experience is something that's been noted every single game, but every single game they've been able to step up. What's the consistent aspect of that back line that's been able to go ahead and answer that toll once again?
Yeah, like I said, they made huge fireman plays, and that's what you need. You need these kind of game-changing plays, these plays that people will remember in terms of having that warrior mentality and that fireman mentality to put out fires.
Interesting that Mikey Veras refers to it as a fireman mentality. He's not wrong, but I think it's just the first time that I've heard it referred to as a fireman mentality when it comes to making the plays that you need to make when you're in a jam and you're trying to make sure that you can advance to the next game in a series. So it is a fireman mentality. I know a lot of folks are kind of drifting back to the Ian Pilcher save off the goal line that was made in the matchup against Minnesota. So San Diego, when you're looking at a team like San Diego, obviously not intimidated by their surroundings, they are at home. And once again, we made the point, but this is regular season compared to postseason, that San Diego FC is worse at home than they were in the regular season than they were being on the road. But they seem to have kind of found their groove at home in the postseason. At home this year in the regular season, 7-5-5. And then last time out, obviously away from home in the regular season, 12-4-1. And when you're like that away from home, obviously that's how you're going to end up with 63 points and be the number one with one more win than Vancouver Whitecaps. One more win than Vancouver. You end up with that one win being the difference. Vancouver scored 2 more goals than you did in the regular season, 66-64. Gave up 3 less with Takaoka in net compared to CJ Dos Santos and Pablo Cisniega. And it was 38 goals allowed to 41. So goal difference of +5 in Vancouver's favor. At home at BC Place, 10-3-4 Vancouver in the regular season, 8-4-5 away from home in the regular season. And you wonder, coming off an instant classic, how absolutely drained you're going to be in a situation like this. And how long it took for Vancouver to recover and get back into, okay, we survived that one, and now we have to get ready for this one. Remember, also, defensively, you are not going to be at 100% because you end up with a red card at one of the worst possible matches that you could ever have it leading into, next week probably would be just as bad, but heading into a game of this import where you end up with Tristan Blackman not being in your lineup because he picked up that second yellow card. You had to play 30 minutes, 35, I think. Well, that was more like 25. So you end up with Tristan Blackman getting that second yellow, gone for the day. Here was the lineup last time out for Vancouver going up against LAFC. Here's how they lined up at home. Takaoka in net, left to right, and they have it pictured as a 4-2-3-1, so take it however you wish. Laborda ends up with the game-winning PK. He finished with a 9 on SofaScore. So Laborda, Priso, Blackman, and Ocampo. And Ocampo out of position. If you listen to the post-match comments of Sebastian Berhalter, Ocampo out of position, playing it right back, and just navigating it as best he could. Laborda, by the way, with that 9, won a tackle, had 4 picks, 10 clearances, 1 block, 2 recoveries, 4 of 10 on his duels, had the 1 clearance off the line, and obviously he had 3 fouls. He had penalty number 5 with an XG of .79. Passing stats, he had 32 of 38 passing, 84%, and it was 14 of 17 at 82% in the attacking half. 2 of 3 on his long balls on the day. 71 touches for Laborda, 1 for 2 on the dribble, fouled once, and dispossessed 7 times. The 2 in front of them in the midfield, Kubas and Sebastian Berhalter. Sebastian Berhalter finishes the day with an 8.3. 0.44 with your XA, 2 big chances created, 4 key passes for Sebastian Berhalter on the night. 2 for 6 on his crosses, 63 of 77 passing, obviously a perfect 25 of 25 in his own half. 4 of 11 on long balls on the day. For Berhalter, it was just that 1 penalty shootout goal. Penalty shootout goal was his only shot on target. On the dribble, 100 touches for Berhalter on the evening. 1 unsuccessful touch. 99 out of 100 successful touches. 19 times he lost possession. 1 for 3 on tackles, had a pick, 6 clearances, 3 blocks, 8 recoveries, 4 of 7 on his duels, 2 fouls, and 1 time he was dribbled past, finished with an 8.3. In front of them, it was Ali Ahmed, Thomas Mueller, and Emmanuel Sabi, and then Brian White up top. Available on the bench, Ryan Alumi, Ryan Gall, Jaden Nelson, Bilal Halbouni, and you have to keep an eye on Halbouni because he left with an injury when Vancouver was down to 10. So Vancouver finishes the extra 30 minutes with 9. So it was 11v9 as they finished. 5 shots, a couple of posts, and you had the clearance all in that last 15 minutes when it was 11v9. Jivan Badwal also was a sub. On the bench, it was Bomer, Jodrick Poop, Tate Johnson, and Kenji Cabrera. So that's what you're staring at for Vancouver, taking the lineup from last time, working it forward to this time. you end up with that match being what it was. Here's some sound to get you back up to speed. First off, we'll start with Sebastian Berhalter and a conversation that he had with Apple TV after the match.
I mean, I don't know where to start. Honestly, I think that was just like the epitome of where our team's at and how close our team is. And I don't have any words, you know. All I have to say is, you know, Bilal Habouni suffered a tough injury there. So we're all really feeling for him now too. But, you know, super happy to advance.
Sebas, congrats on a great result. I know why you don't have any words. There was a couple of times the camera went on you, and even when you were down to 9 men, you were willing your team. The mentality was so strong. There was no doubt in your mind. When I looked at you, I thought, if I'm a teammate, I'm running through a brick wall for this guy. What was it like being out there?
That's how I feel about every other guy out there. You know, every other guy giving his 110%, and you're seeing Goldie come in and play. I don't even know how many minutes he played, you know, and he hasn't played that the whole year, and guys just stepping up left and right. You know, Eddie Campos playing center back, you know, playing right back, and Goldie's playing left wing back. It's just the culture that we've created with this team, and it just shows how close this group of guys is. I'm so proud.
Ryan Gauld, by the way, played 58 minutes, came in the 62nd as the sub for Sabi. And so Ryan Gauld played 58 minutes as a way through when Vancouver gets the win. So then after the match, we played you the sound earlier in the week from Thomas Mueller. Here's Jesper Sorensen after the match describing what they went through to get to the conference final, once again, courtesy of our friends of the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Football is a funny game. Over the course of 2 hours, you can come through everything. We played, for me, a very, very good first half. Second half, they changed and got momentum going. They played through the middle, and we really gave the ball away too easy. And then in the extra time, we were, of course, lucky to get the win. But, you know, the players, they did everything. And sometimes you just have to put everything you got on the pitch and see what happens. If you're 2 men down, normally it's not possible to get through 25 minutes. But the players did it. They're extremely disciplined. They're extremely, you know, unselfish. Everybody put everything out on the pitch, and and then a little bit of luck in the end. And of course, I'm really so happy for the players because we've had such a great season so far, and everybody has chipped in throughout the season. We've faced adversity throughout, and also today in today's game. And everybody is just trying to stick to the plan and try to do everything they can and try to help their teammate. And you know, everybody just they all team everybody, and I think it's I'm happy for everybody, but I'm also a little bit tired now.
Understandably so. Jesper Sorensen after the match, where they survived literally and moved on. Lineup, by the way, for San Diego, last time out the door when it was going up against Anders Dreyer. Anders Dreyer with the 1 goal going up against Minnesota United. The lineup for San Diego FC, Pablo Cisniega in net, back four, Luca Bombino, Manu Dua, Christopher McVeigh, and Ian Pilcher. Pilcher had one of the higher rankings, of course, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. He had an 8. Anibal Godoy had the highest with an 8.2. Midfield 3 listed as Godoy, Yepit Verskov, and Ani Valakati. You had Mal Pellegrino, Corey Baird, and Anders Dreyer. By the way, underappreciated moment in that goal by Dreyer was the back heel by Corey Baird to get to that point. Baird saves the ball from going out, back heels it through the 2 defenders from Minnesota, finds Dreyer, and Dreyer slams the door for the 1 goal in the match. Underappreciated moment is Corey Baird making sure that the ball stayed in and back heeling it and having enough presence to know that Dreyer was going to be there. At least the confidence, I guess, that Dreyer was going to be there. So 1-0 was how it finished up there, and it was survival for Vancouver. Right now, your juice boxes, just so you know them, it is San Diego FC favored, no real surprise, at a plus 131, and they are the nightcap at 9 o'clock, so 9:12 on Saturday night. 9-12 San Diego FC at a plus 131. Vancouver a plus 185 on the road, and your 90-minute draw is a plus 254. I would lean toward, and I have no scientific evidence of this whatsoever, one way or the other. I would lean toward that 90-minute draw. Just because of what we have seen from Vancouver and going down and recovering from the LAFC match, traveling down the coast to San Diego, getting ready for this particular game, I'm leaning toward it taking longer than 90 minutes. Like I said, no scientific evidence whatsoever, but I'm thinking that this one, the late night one, of course, it probably would end up being a late night one as you go. Now, Eastern Conference is a little bit more cut and dried. When you look at the juice boxes here, Messi and friends are a minus 204. Understandably so, considering what we have seen from them really the last handful of weeks. And a question, I haven't seen it yet. And I'm wondering if it does pop up, where the discussion comes up again about the starting or not starting of Luis Suarez and having a top line of Matteo Silvetti and Lionel Messi, who drops further back, and then Tadeo Allende, instead of Luis Suarez as a part of that mix. I haven't heard anything about it yet this week, but I'm wondering if, when the heat gets turned up on this match, everybody looks an hour before the start at 6:12, around 5:15 or so Saturday afternoon, and sits there and starts hemming and hawing if Luis Suarez is not in the lineup for a conference final versus not being in the lineup for the third match in a row, because having Allende and Silvetti up top makes you faster and more fleet of foot chasing after balls, and that pressure that you've had offensively creating difficulty for everybody else that you've been playing. Whether it's been Cincinnati, who you just absolutely took out back and got the whooping stick, or Nashville in game 3 of that best-of-3 series. Since then, you've seen a difference. And yes, there is that whole part about Messi grabbing everybody by the scruff of the neck and willing everybody forward and grabbing them to make sure that since it is the last dance for Alba and Sergi Busquets, that you have these kinds of moments for Messi and friends. So Messi and friends minus 204, no surprise. 90-minute draw is a plus 368. NYC is a plus 442. So to get us back to where we are with these matchups, here's the one moment NYC needed in Philly, courtesy of our friends at Apple TV, Kanji and Danny on the call.
Second chance to get on the loose ball, and instead taken here by Gray. Sends New York City in transition. Ojeda cuts it inside on McGonigle. Well done. Fernandez Macau plays it ahead. Shot, goal! It's a 1-0 New York City lead. Maxi Morales, he's done it again. 4 goals in 4 career playoff games versus the Philadelphia Union. And look who's on top. The visitors strike in this first half. New York City.
We said that NYC had settled, and my have they settled, because now you watch, it's all about the movement. You look at Ojeda, all of a sudden Wagner's been dragged out. Now because Ojeda goes into space, then Macanya, he gets done. Macanya's now out of the middle. So all of a sudden the back four is all over the place, and it's a wonderful finish from Morales. But what about a ball from Fernandez Macau? What an outstanding ball, and that is all about that false 9 position. Both centre-backs dragged out of the game. Glesnes has to go to Fernandez Macau. That leaves a space in behind for Morales, and just like fine wine, he is maturing and getting better with age. And NYC...
There you go. There's the goal that NYC got. It's the goal that NYC needed. Their lineup last time out against... what is that? Oh, that's an aggregate. I don't need the aggregate. I need last time out for NYC. That's what I need. I need the last time out lineup against Philly. So last time out against Philly, lineup was this way. Matt Friesen net back 4 for Pascal Janssen. We'll hear from him in a minute. It was Raul Gustavo, Justin Hack, Thiago Martins, and Tavon Gray. That was your back 4. Midfield in front of them, Hannes Wolf, it was O'Toole, Shore, and Ojeda, and then Fernandez, Macau, and Maxi Morales. That was the wrap-up of that lineup. Obviously, Matt Freese had the highest rating, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. 5 total saves, goals prevented 1.31, saves from inside the 18. He had 4 of those. He had 1 punch as well. Defensively, 5 recoveries, 1 clearance, and he won his only aerial duel. Passing on the night for Freese, 15 of 27 and 15 of 17 in his own half. 3 of 15 on long balls, by the way, at only 20%. So Matt Freese had an 8.0. highest player rating of the starting 11 for NYC, and it was Fernandez Macau, Nico Fernandez, who had the 7.7. He was in there for most of the match, substituted for Julian Fernandez in the 89th minute. On the day for Fernandez, 1 assist, the XA of 0.58, 1 big chance created, 2 key passes, 1 for 3 on his crosses, 24 of 31 accurate passing, 18 and 26 in the opponent's half at 69%, 1 for 2 on his long balls on the day. 67 touches, 1 for 2 on the dribble, fouled 6 times, lost possession 24 times. Of course, when you're going up against Philadelphia, those high numbers are not necessarily a surprise. 1 for 1 on his tackles, had the 1 pick, the 5 recoveries, and these are staggering numbers. But obviously, once again, going up against a team like Philadelphia that wants to do defensively what they want to do, 7 of 17 on ground duels for Nicolas Fernandez. On the day, he was 8 of 23 in the overall. 2 fouls and 2 times he was dribbled past, but 7 of 17 on his ground duels. I can't think of a number that has been that high. I really can't on the board. So Nico Fernandez, you wonder, there's no Perea. You wondered what was going to happen there. There was some absences with cards. You wondered what was going to happen there. You get the 1 goal on the board. That's all you needed. Philadelphia goes home. You stay here. So NYC and Miami, and then into Messi and friends, and they're going to be the early game. So we're thinking 6:12-ish for the kick on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Pascal Janssen was asked what he thought about the upcoming matchup, and here was his thoughts going up against Inter Miami and Messi and friends.
We do have to make sure that mentality is going to be there again to have a good chance of reaching the other final.
As far as Miami is concerned, the last time you played them, you lost 4-0. But I'm sure you've reviewed that tape a million times and to see what you can do differently. But now Miami's also playing a little bit differently. They dropped Suarez, they're putting Messi in the middle. They got Allende and Segovia running around, or maybe not Segovia, but they have them running. Silvetti, right? From the outside running in. Mm-hmm. How does that change for you as far as your approach to the game?
Well, that's something we have to look into. Obviously, they changed Luis Suarez in the last few games. So setup is slightly different. But we have to be prepared for whatever scenario they throw at us. So we don't just conclude at this moment that Suarez is not going to play, or anybody for that matter. We have to prepare ourselves to be ready for whatever setup they have and just make sure that we stay true to our own principles.
Thank you. Christian?
Obviously, the big name on that roster is Lionel Messi, and trying to stop him at this point in the season seemed like a tall task for a lot of these teams. When it comes to kind of game planning against arguably one of the greatest players in the world, mm-hmm. how do you approach that? Do you try and put a lot of emphasis on that? Do you try and balance that out and say this isn't just Messi versus you guys? It's another. Like, how do you try and balance that? Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's that question because a lot of people can assume it's Messi against all these other teams, but that's not the case. They have great players, whoever they want to play in the starting 11. So, and Messi is a league of its own. That's clear. So we just address it like it is, discuss the things, have that conversation about the do's and don'ts. Obviously, like Roberto said just now, watch the game that we played at home. I think if you go back to that game, close to 70, 72 minutes, it was a pretty even game with 2 big opportunities for us to go 1-0 up before they even scored the goal. So that's something that we have to take into account, but also respect the fact that they've been playing a little different than back then. And like I said just now, just be ready for whatever they throw at us.
Starting 11 last time out for Messi and friends, Rocco Rios Novo. And it's been fun to see Rocco's ascendancy. I don't know if that's the word you want to use. Being a part of the jigsaw puzzle between him and Oscar Ustari. And it is, it's like, yes, I understand the risks. Unbelievable. Okay, so then nothing like trying to log on to SofaScore and then not give you what you're looking for. Anyway, last time out, you look at what went down with this lineup, and the lineup in and of itself, it's like, I just want to see the lineup. Give me some folks that happened last time. So Rocco Rios Novo in net. So apparently Norton is not happy with SofaScore and all of the pop-up windows. Rocco Rios Novo in net, 5-3-2, 3-5-2, 4-4-2, whatever you want to call it. Left to right, Jordi Alba, Noah Allen, Sergi Busquets, Maxi Falcone, Chelo Weigand. And so obviously, you have Jordi Alba roll forward, you turn the dial to the left one, and then everybody pulls over. Noah Allen ends up as a left back. Busquets kind of works his way forward. Falcone comes over. Weigand comes over. Then you have Baltazar Rodriguez, Rodrigo de Paul, and Allende, who scored twice, thanks to the assists from one particular individual who had a goal, by the way, on the day, and Matteo Silvetti. So however you want to look at what Messi and friends do, if you want to start off with that 5-3-2, Jordi Alba is going to engage. So he's going to come up the left-hand side, make those inner runs. Baltazar Rodriguez probably drifting back and holding back a little bit to help out the back line if something happens in transition. And then you have Silvetti and Messi, and then Allende coming up the right-hand side. DePaul trying to help out the midfield a little bit and kind of be a buffer for Sergi Busquets a little bit. Chelo Weigand, he's going to come up the right-hand side and engage. So that back line, you're going to turn the dial once to the left or to the right. And whoever engages, then you're going to have folks in support for those folks that advance. The bench last time out, it was Fafa Pico, Santi Morales, Ustari, Tomas Avilas, Luis Suarez, Yannick Bright. You had Telasco Segovia, Gonzalo Lujan, and Alan Obando. And so that's what it's looking like with Messi and friends as they go up against NYC. Reports coming out yesterday, and once again, hang on to them as much as you would like. It appears that Inter Miami is interested in Kai Wagner. Wagner, I believe, has one more year left on his deal, and they might be kicking the tires on something like that. So keep an eye out for Messi and friends and Kai Wagner to help things out at the back line going forward. His salary, just so you know, just to have it attached to any kind of a discussion that you're looking for, is something that is also being blocked by our friends at Norton today. All right, so salary guide. So let's go to Kai Wagner and check his number real quick. Kai Wagner on the board, total guaranteed compensation base of $930 and guaranteed comp a little over $1 million, almost 1.1. So navigable when it comes to Messi and friends and what you're looking for there. Just to give you an idea of the salaries on the board, Jordi Alba, so we'll go with the folks that are over $1 million and anybody who's close. Let's do that. Obviously, Jordi Alba's on the books for $6 million. Allende's on the books for $1 million. Busquets on the books for 8.8 total compensation. Rodrigo de Paul this year, 3.6 million and a half base, guaranteed comp 3.6. GAM's a lovely thing when you've got some. Messi, base of 12, guaranteed comp 20,446,667. So $62 million over 3 years, something like that. And then you end up with Alan Obando, who's at 620, Fafa Pico at 642. Luis Suarez at $1.5 million. Oscar Ustari, an expensive goalkeeper, at 744. You've got Cello Wagand at 734, and that's kind of where you're at. So if Kai Wagner is making that $1 million, he's in the Tadeo Allende listing. He's in that same zip code, but you've got another couple of folks that are not coming back, and so you're freeing up $15.5 million that you can play with your salary figures and whatever AM you have left. So keep an eye out on that idea. Like I said, it was just a report, and it's only the one report that we've seen that's attached to it. So just to double check the GAM numbers as we know them from Major League Soccer. No, that's not really what I'm looking for. MLS September GAM. That's what I'm looking for, people. It's not hard. Not the schedule. Not the schedule release. That is not what we're looking for. So September GAM MLS. Maybe if I switch my order a little bit, maybe it'll give it to me. There we go. Club roster profiles. Here we go. Okay. So club roster profiles. Checking both Messi and Friends and Philadelphia, just in the Kai Wagner-ish idea of wanting to perhaps add him to the back once his contract situation is squared away. It's taking too long for the PDF to think, so we're going to back out and hit it again. Nothing like sitting there. It's like, I just want to see. I just want to see it. I just want to see it. That's all that I want. Literally, that's all I want to see. Just the GAM numbers. GAM numbers and salary. I don't think I'm asking for much, but apparently I am. So, yes, GAM totals for all 30 teams. So you end up with the full breakdown on all of this. And once folks decide to behave and you can load it and I can look at it, then we could come up with the numbers. So, okay. Messi and Friends, they had a little over $2 million in GAM available to them heading into September. I don't know what it is right now, but this is just what it was. Philadelphia had about half that. And so you were looking at like 1.1 and all that other stuff. So that's what you were staring at when it came to your GAM figures. So they had 2.1 through September. Don't know how much of that was going to players that they brought in to stare at for the rest of the deal, for the rest of the season heading toward now. So that's kind of what you're staring at with GAM availability. Okay, so now it finally loaded third time in. Philadelphia, to look at the contract status of Kai Wagner, just to double check it. Kai Wagner is a high TAM player, contract through 26, so through next season. Would Philadelphia want to trade Kai Wagner in league before his contract is up? There was an option year pickup for 27. But would Philadelphia be interested in trading for assets and or GAM or what have you, young players, and not be stuck with not getting anything for a double negative for Wagner before his contract expires? So keep an eye out on that. And morning, Abby. Morning, Ricky. Morning, Ropes. Morning, D. Graham. So that is so keep an eye on the Kai Wagner deal. And just it's not a deal yet, but the Kai Wagner deal. Not the Kai Wagner deal, but the Kai Wagner deal. Pause deal. See what the latest might be. Would Messi and Friends be able to spirit him away from Philadelphia before the end of his deal, his current contract, so they could get stuff for him instead of letting him sit and just kind of, not get anything for an asset and have Kai Wagner sit there and say after the 26th season, nah, I'm not interested. Or don't do it. One of the two. So that's what you're staring at. That was one report that was out there that was attached to Kai Wagner going forward. So keep an eye on that as you have what's going on. So one quick note out of the Premier League, Matías Cunha is going to miss Manchester United's weekend trip to Crystal Palace due to a head injury suffered in training. Apparently, he was almost knocked out. Considered a minor issue, concussion protocol rules him out of the journey to Selhurst Park, having missed the 1-0 loss to Everton. Joined in the summer, $62.5 million deal from Wolves. has just the 1 goal, 8th most productive player. And against Palace, though, 2 goals and an assist. FA concussion guidelines state concussion should be managed with a short period of relative rest, followed by gradual return to normal activities as symptoms allow. Relative rest involves resting both the body and resting the brain. After an initial 24 to 48-hour period of relative rest, a staged and graduated return to full daily activities, meaning education or work, and football training is allowed, but at a rate that does not worsen existing symptoms more than mildly or produce new symptoms. So keep an eye out on the Matheus Cunha situation, and Enzo Maresca has confirmed Cole Palmer is available for selection for Arsenal on the weekend. Speaking of which, let's go to Juice Boxes for the Premier League. I promised that Nino Torres is going to join us here in a sec, and we'll break everything down to go fully loaded on a Friday. And we thank him for that, considering how chaotic things have been. We have 5 and 5 before everything picks back up in the midweek with matches there as well. So set your fantasy teams accordingly. 3 at 10 o'clock tomorrow, Brentford to -222 hosting Burnley. Manchester City a -435 hosting Leeds, and boy, do they need it. And Sunderland a +214 hosting Bournemouth at a +133. 90-minute draws a +231. Everton +174, slight dog at home against Newcastle a +166. Late game Saturday, Spurs a +125 hosting Fulham at a +234. Now, Sunday, 7 o'clock early, Crystal Palace +129 hosting Manchester United at a +204. 9:05, 2 matches. Villa -208 hosting Wolves at a +555. 3 matches. Forest hosting Brighton at a +175. Brighton a +156. West Ham a +330 hosting Liverpool, who really needs it, at a -135. Your late game, 11:30 on Sunday morning. It is Chelsea and Arsenal. Arsenal a +122. Chelsea a +239. 90-minute draw is a +229. And that gets us to the last half hour of the week. And what's over the man's left shoulder? Since we got to talk about Matheus Cunha and what's going on, we're going to go to Peru and find out what's going on with our buddy Nino Torres and GOLTV, because it's time to go fully loaded to wrap up a week. And we started off by saying, yellow, 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 how you doing? And he froze on me. Rats. Oh, there he is. He's moving.
No. But I'm here.
There you are. What's going on? I can hear you. Your video is frozen, but I can hear you. Oh, he might have to go off his phone again. There you go. All right. Talk to me, my boy. Talk to me.
No.
Talk to me, sir. Oh, boy. Nothing like a Friday with this.
I'm here. Can you hear me, John?
You're here, but you're... Yeah, I can hear you,
hear
bud.
me?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Hold on a second. Wait.
All right. I'll hold. As he closes the window. That's fantastic.
All right. Can you hear me better now?
There you go.
There you go. There I am.
Oh, brother. How are you? Yellow, yellow, yellow.
You're freezing. She's... Yeah, are we good? Are we good?
Oh,
Nice. All right, we're good. We're good, man.
You might have to go off your phone.
Good. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I think.
All right, hit me,
Yeah.
brother. What's going on, brother?
All right. Yellow. Friday edition with all the inconvenience and the technological inconvenience, but we're here, brother. We're here. We got it wrong.
Yes, we do. A couple of things that were on my sheet that were stunning, and I know that we have to discuss them. And the first one has to do with when you create a trophy, and folks get mad when you create a trophy, and you get a processional outside of an office building, and you get to hold a trophy. Hey, look what we got, you know. And then you are forced with this opponent to hold a guard of honor, and you basically tell the league that you're in, that this stinks. And so your team turns its back during a guard of honor, which it was, I have never seen that before. You turn your back in a guard of honor, and then you play, and then the league that you are in decides that if you are Estudiantes and you turned your back during a guard of honor, that you are going to get punished. And they got the hammer dropped on them for turning their back for a guard of honor. It is something I have never seen, and then you end up with the punishment. It's just crazy what has happened here, man.
It is absolutely insane. But do you know? Do you get this info too? Do you know why? When that document was created about the punishment?
Break it all down for us, because we need the intel, brother.
This is the most Soprano-like situation that I've seen in ever. So first, the whole freak show about getting the tournament, getting the trophy to Rosario Central in a meeting where Chiquitapia gathered all together, everyone in here. Oh, guys, what you think is fair if the team with the most points wins the tournament? And everybody's like, yeah, it's okay. No, we're good. That's good. Keep talking. Again, I want to ask you guys, you think it's okay for this, to award the title to the team that is getting the most points across the year? Yeah, that's good. So we okay with this verbally, right? Are we okay with this? This is not there's no voting. He's just talking. Nobody's voting for anything here. All right. Oh, okay. So we're good. All right. Angelito, Di Maria, come over here. Hey, bring me the trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rosario Central, your new champion, because they had the most points of the season. Everybody was frozen in that meeting. Everybody froze. It was just like, what is going on? And then all the episodes that just broke down about the punishment on Estudiantes. And they based off a document from AFA, right? If you're not obey to the rules, are you going to be punished, la, la, la. March 10th of 2025, right? That's a document. You did this document in March. No, you didn't. You created the same day. They created the same day, Johnny. The same day they created the trophy, the same day they created the punishment. In AFA. And then they say, no, hold on a second. Looking at the PDF and hold on. Let me check on this. PDF created on November 25th of 2025. They did not create this in March. No, hold on a second. Let me change it again. So they changed it again. They basically forged the creation date of the document. This is how can you be more of a crook in this? This is crook lessons from legend number one, brother. What is this? What is this? That's why my topic is like Chiquitapia. Tony Soprano has nothing on you, baby. Tony Soprano has nothing on you. I never seen anything like it. I mean, probably there are more situations like that. We're going to go into the Peruvian situations in a bit, but this is world-class crook act, man. That's what it is.
And it doesn't even stop there. So you end up with that going down. And so then Juan Sebastian Veron, who is the president of Estudiantes, he's been banned from all football-related activity for 6 months for ordering, and this is from Dan Kilpatrick over at The Athletic, for ordering the club players to turn their backs on Rosario Central. The Argentine Football Association, AFA, the 6-person disciplinary tribunal, ruled Veron's decision to order the team to adopt, quote, an attitude of open disapproval constituted, quote, a form of symbolic violence and an affront to the values of respect and sportsmanship, end quote. So they protest, you get the made-up trophy, and then just days before the round of 16 match, Central's crowned league champs, players turn their backs, and the players who turn their backs In addition to Verón getting a 6-month suspension, the players who turned their backs, the starting 11, banned for 2 games. Captain Santiago Nunez banned from wearing the captain's armband for any of their teams for 3 months. And the other affected players, Muslera, Gomez, Palacios, Farias, LGP. So remember, there's an Atlanta tie here with Leandro Gonzalez Pires, Arzamendia, Cetre, Piovi, Medina, and Amondarain are going to get 1-match suspensions they're going to get match suspensions, 2-match bans enforced from the start of the next official tournament the club plays in, meaning that they will be available for the quarters against Central Cordoba this weekend. Fined the value of 4,000 tickets, around about $120,000. Estudiantes said in a statement that they are, quote, analyzing the sanction received in detail in order to take the appropriate measures to defend the interests of the institution and its members. In this context, Board of Directors expresses their full support for Juan Sebastian Verón, Santi Nunez, and the entire professional squad. What in the blue you-know-what, man?
This is forget about, this is the bullying at the highest level possible. If you're going to be bullied, you're going to be bullied like that. But all this happens, right? But at the same time, you go to Barraca Central, and what happened in the Barraca Central game? Referee calls a penalty, right? Calls a penalty for Barracas, of course. Then threatens the opponent for complaining about the penalty, all right? And everything is cool, right? Because the penalty taker is Chiquitapia's son, right? The head coach is the head coach. No. The president of Barracas is the son, the brother of Chiquitapia. And what's the name of the stadium? Chiquitapia. So, there's nothing that you can do about, in the Grondona era in Argentina, you knew, right, that he was El Padrino, right? He was the godfather. You just gotta kiss his hand and everything else. But this is, I can't explain this. I have no words for this situation in Argentina. When you got that power, when you got that power that it has no contest, you can do literally whatever you want with the country's sportman. He's doing whatever he wants, and no opposition. There's no one that can even come close to the power of Chiquitapia in Argentina, Johnny. There's nobody there. Nobody. If they make an election, nobody's gonna win. Nobody. He's gonna have to die. All right, Chiquitapia's gonna have to die like Julio Grondona did. After that FBI raid, the blog. Remember when they got all the executives from all these different countries? Even for that, the guy chose the right time to die, man. Before that happened, it's insane. And I think this is what's gonna happen with Chiquitapia too. Until he dies, he's gonna rule Argentinian soccer. Until he dies.
The AFA's disciplinary tribunal claimed Estudiantes' behavior conveyed, quote, a message of devaluation of another's sporting achievement and a breach of the unwritten rules of respect between institutions, and therefore constitutes an immoral or reprehensible act and an act of indiscipline under the terms of Article 12, Paragraph 3 of the Code. It was not that they claimed Verón and the board of directors ultimately behind the move. It was not an improvised or isolated gesture by a player, but rather a directive issued by the highest institutional authority of the club. Yikes.
It's insane. I never seen anything like it. Anything like it. Nope.
I was stunned when it happened. Absolutely stunned. Let's see. So now that we spent 15 minutes on Estudiantes and Chiquitapia, the telenovela Barcos in Alianza Lima. What's going on there?
Hernan Barcos is the best in Alianza Lima in this since the year 2000. In this century, in this millennium, there's no better player than Hernan Barcos for Alianza. But there's an issue with Hernan. He's 41, as well as Paulo Guerrero. He's 41 too. So the dilemma in Alianza was, do we keep both players? Do we keep both 41-year-old strikers on our roster for next year? Can we afford to do that and watch Universitario Deportes win the 4-peat? Is that such a thing as 4-peat? I don't know. It's the 3-peat and the 4-peat, right? Yeah. This is what we're going to do, or what are we going to do? And so they decided they have to keep one of the two, either Paulo Guerrero or Barcos. But Paulo Guerrero he has a different power. He has a different star power than Hernan Barcos, even though Hernan Barcos has done way more for Alianza than Paulo Guerrero. Paulo Guerrero left the institution when he was 19, and he went travel over the world, playing 20 years abroad, and he returned to his club because he's a fan of Alianza and la la la. Anyway, but Hernan Barcos is the best international player in the Liga 1 in the last 5 years, Johnny. Mm-hmm. The best player in the league in the last 5 years, okay? But at the beginning of the year, they say, all right, Hernan, I think we're going to, this is your last year, okay? We're going to end up the contract. Your contract ends in December 30th. Okay, fine. But then Hernan Barcos came up with miraculous and monster goals throughout the season, helping immensely Alianza Lima going into quarterfinals of CONMEBOL International Tournament for the first time in, like, I don't know how many years, 35 years, 40 years, who knows how long. And so he's been having a monster year despite not playing as a starter. He had one less goal than Paolo, and he played 50% less games than Paulo Guerrero. He has one less goal, all right? Okay, fine. And then he was like, you know what? I want to know if I want to stay or not. I want to know if I want to stay or not. Okay, you want to know? Okay, let's have a meeting. You're not staying. You're not staying. Just like that. They tell him just like flat out, you're not. And then, the media exploded all over the place. And then all the Alianza Lima journalists, my God, they're so pathetic, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm a Universitario Deportes fan, right? But you don't see me crying about stuff that happens to La U. I'm not crying about it. I might be overexcited about some achievements, but I never cry about it. I never do. Boy, it was a funeral. It was a funeral on the radio, on TV. And journalists were like, oh no, it's not possible. How in the world you let this guy go? That means that you prefer having the party boys at your team than having a professional player that never goes out, that gets the job done and gets some time, and that's part of the culture of Alianza Lima. Dude, this is a party house. They like the cumbia, the salsa, the merengue, right? And then they play sexy soccer, but they don't win championships. Mm-hmm. Right? When it comes to win championships, they don't. And I'm not saying this because of this badge right here. No, I'm not saying because of that. I'm telling you the truth. Okay? This is how it is. This has been the culture forever. They are the party boys, and we are the blue collar guys. That we just get the job done, get on the trenches and get the job done. That's why the Universitario Deportes has way more championships than Alianza Lima. But it's not over. And now they still got to play the playoffs against Sporting Cristal. And Hernan Barcos already reached out to Sporting Cristal to play for them, right? But the technical director for Sporting Cristal said, they're doing a fantastic play, but we got job to do still, brother. We got 4 more games to play. 4 more games to play, and we're not settled yet on the position, so. Chill out. We'll see what happens at the end of the tournament. It's not over yet. It's not over. But boom, baby, boom. You're gonna play against Sporting Cristal and you offering your services already to the opponent? You kidding me? And there's this information that leaked that there was an incident between Valera and Barcos in the Clásico, where Hernan Barcos came up to the media and said, "Yeah, no, this guy doesn't know anything about respect. I told him more about the Peruvian. I've done more for the Peruvian national team than he's done." Brother, you're Argentine. What are you talking about? You didn't play for the national team. What are you talking about? And he for me, he's a dead guy. It's a dead body on the pitch. And since that moment, Valera became the best striker in the Liga 1. After that, he just ignited the fire on Valera. He scored, I don't know how many goals he scored in that span. I think 9 goals in 10 games or something like that, something brutal. And then he went down the drain, and now he's trying to say that I want to play for a team that I came here to Peru to win 4 titles. I won 3 titles with Alianza, and there's only one team that can win one more, and that's Universitario. Bro, you're not coming to Lau. You kidding me? You think they're gonna open the doors to you? No, you're not coming. You better figure it out where you getting the offers from. But I'm not from Universitario. You're not coming home. You're not.
So suffice to say that our buddy Nino Torres here is coming in #fully loaded this morning. He's all fired up as he should be. You have 3 other Peruvian topics that I'm going to save because we got juice boxes to go with one of them.
All right.
Okay, but you have Portugal, Campau, U17. But how about Cristiano? Yeah, nothing like getting a red and supposedly having a 2-match ban. But no, we're going to kind of kick it down the road a year. Well, if you do it again. If you do it again, then we'll kick it back up. But it's suspended for a year. Nothing like CR40 sitting getting that 2-match ban kind of kicked down the road because of a World Cup. Yeah.
And guess what? There's a Peruvian president on that one in the World Cup. All right. I don't know if you remember. I don't know. But I want to tell you a story about it. It's about Paulo Guerrero. Paulo Guerrero tested positive for he tested positive for cocaine. Okay.
Whoa.
Cocaine in the World Cup qualifiers before Russia 2018. He tested positive for cocaine in what game was it? In the game in Argentina, Peru versus Argentina. All right. So got positive for doping. Got the whole case, like he was going back and forth, and they came up with a defensive argument saying that the teapot, right, of mate was not properly cleaned. That's why he got residues of cocaine in his blood. And they even fired the poor waiter, man, at the hotel for bringing that pot to Guerrero. And anyway, so case went to the Court of Arbitration. And the World Cup was right around the corner. It was right around the corner. They were like, I don't know how many days away, like 2 or 3 weeks away from there. And then this was the resolution, right? This was the resolution. All right. We're gonna, what is this? We're gonna suspend you. What is it again? We're gonna hold on the suspension for 90 days.
An interim order to freeze the 14-month ban was how it was phrased.
Yeah. You know, they want to freeze it so you can play the World Cup, right? Mm-hmm. And then we figured it out. Then, of course, right after the World Cup ends, boom, match suspended 14 months. Right after the World Cup. So that's a kick-ass precedent right there. This one for the red card is nothing. It's just a piece of cake, brother. It's nothing. It's nothing compared to what happened with Paulo Guerrero. So, but still, why we do this, man? Just serious match suspensions. All right, I'm sorry. You want to throw elbows at a player? That's not okay. I don't care that you're Cristiano. I don't care. But again, of course, we're not measured by the same laws. Laws are not made the same for everyone. When you are, Cristiano, when you're Messi, when you're,
back in 2018, the case that you're referring to, CAS had said earlier, and this happened late May, CAS said it would not intervene in Guerrero's legal campaign to play at the World Cup, but that it would not object, end quote, if a federal judge decided to freeze the ban. The judge, Christina Kiss, took into account that at 34, Guerrero should not miss his first opportunity to play at the World Cup. That was what happened May 31st.
He should not. All right. Okay. Thank you for that. Thinking of that nicely.
May 31st, 2018. So that was what you were. So there's like two sets of laws. Laws for y'all, laws for them. You have here the Copa Libertadores finals are in Lima tomorrow. Are you going? I guess is my first question.
I am not going because I got a Benfica game from 1 to 3, and the game is at 4.
Okay.
So it's impossible for me to get to the stadium in 1 hour with a Copa Libertadores finals going on in Lima. It's impossible. You know, it's 5 miles away. No. How many miles is it? 4 miles away from here, the stadium.
Okay.
The last time that I went to a Copa Libertadores match with my mom, remember, it took us, 2.5 hours to get there. 2.5 hours, man, for 4 miles. 4 miles, all right? 2.5 hours to get there. And Copa Libertadores finals, no. It's impossible for me. I don't have a header here, so unless I have that, that's the only way that I could get into the game line. But I can't. But I said, talking about we are floated. There's a float of Brazilian fans, Flamengo fans, Palmeiras fans, as friendly as they are, because they're so friendly, right? They've been issues too. They've been fights in the bars outside here. What's it? 4 or 5 miles away from here. It's called the district is Miraflores. It's probably the most international district here in Lima. The most tourist friendly. And there've been a lot of fights. But not huge fights. They're like 10-10, 8-7, something like that. But not that many. But they trying to sell this. Oh, this is so violent. But I want to say that they are not the majority. Thank God. Thank God. Okay. No, the majority of Brazilians. And of course, Brazilian loves us. We love them. And it's they been talking to samba. This is crazy, man. And tomorrow, from here, I can see the main road that goes to the stadium. So I'm gonna be all the colors, all the parade of Brazilians going through the streets here to get stadium, man. So I'm so pumped about having the Copa Libertadores finals here, man. Absolutely.
Flamengo in the juice boxes is a plus 134. Palmeiras is a plus 231. Your 90-minute draw is a plus 193.
One last thing about the Flamengo and Palmeiras here. Initially, Flamengo was set up to train in Alianza Lima Stadium, all right? Initially. And Palmeiras is supposed to train here in Videna, which is the Peruvian National Federation training camps. But there is a curse for whoever trains in Matute, Alianza Lima's turf. There is a curse for the Copa Libertadores. Whoever trains there doesn't win. So Flamengo was like, we're not trained there. We're not trained there. Switch it. And they switch it. And now as Palmeiras training in there, Ferreira says, I don't care about this, but that's all I'm saying.
Okay.
When you train, whoever teams trains in Matute or worse an Alianza Lima doesn't win the championship, doesn't win the Copa Libertadores. It's a curse for Alianza. I'm not even joking, brother. I'm not even joking. It's real.
Wow. So then what is this discussing the president and all the legends in Peru?
Why, man? Why can I have decent people, man? So there's a picture, right? the president of Peru, the president of the Peruvian Soccer League, the president of CONMEBOL. There's another president of some other organization in there in the picture. And these are the counts, right? One has been sentenced for reselling tickets. The other one has a lawsuit pending for sexual harassment, and the other one has another what is this actives? What is this? What's the count again? Fraud for fiscal fraud for taxes fraud.
Wire fraud.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And so on. So they called the match of legends, and everybody was like, oh yeah, they're legendary crooks playing in that game. But putting that aside, I gotta say that the people is being so harsh with the president because he came into the presidency in a really clear and orthodox way. And but I don't mind, man. He's a young guy, man. Let him be. Let him play soccer. He was horrible playing, by the way. I watched the match, and but I think the people is too harsh on the president nowadays in Peru because people are not happy because there's a lot of things going wrong on this country. But the president, by him playing a game, he's not gonna do anything bad. I mean, just let him play, man. Just let him be. Let him be. It's one of the perks to be a president, right? Just go play, man. I had nothing against it, man. Nothing.
It's a photo op. Universitario and their silly season, and I know that you were typing quickly. You said that their silly season is on Fitry, but I know you meant on fire. Yes, I know it's on fire.
I'm so happy for two reasons. One is that we are the technical director Alvaro Barco is set and not bringing players over 35. Okay, not players over 35. There might be one caveat on that, but the name is Abel Hernandez, who's 35. He scored 24 goals in 24 games. So you might, bend the rule a little bit with this guy, right? Because they're looking for a striker, and Abel Hernandez is a proven striker who not only play for Liverpool, play for different teams, play in Mexico, playing everywhere. All right, okay. And all the names that have been linked to Universitario are coming from the Uruguayan Soccer League. And who's calling that league? Myself. So I got to talk a lot about the about these players, about Abel Hernandez, about Gonzalo Napoli, about Pepe Neris, about everyone. So I've been keeping posted my fans here on TikTok here in Peru about it, because everybody can go and score. Oh yeah, 3 goals, 5 assists. Yeah, that guy's not good. There's a lot more to see than those 2 stats columns, brother. There's a lot more to see in me calling the league every week. I'm so happy because the names keep coming and coming. Why? Because the head coach of Universitario is Uruguayan, and he is linked to several players in Uruguay. He knows the stuff. He knows the players. He knows who could perform in the highest level in Peru. I believe that the signings are going to come from that league. Obviously, right now, this is a silly season, the bunch of names. We have until December 30th to see who's really coming or not. And but about what I like it is that the names have been linked. I like those players. Usually, I kind of, this guy, maybe yes, maybe no. But it's never happened before when we started signing players. This is the first year that I'm like, oh, I agree on this one, on all 4 or 5 players that they've been linked to it. If they all come, wonderful. If one come, wonderful. I'm so happy for that, man.
One more thing from me off the board. Did you see what happened in the Copa Bolivia? The 17 red cards?
It's insane. What was that? The quarterfinals of the Copa Bolivia. Insane. That's a record, man. There's another player. Red cards. 17 in a single game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. That it was wild. It was absolutely wild. Oruro was the cash in Bolivia.
That's the matchup.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What can I tell you? I think it's way too much.
The
You
video.
can't have,
Yeah, I mean,
just show 2, 3 for one side, 2, 3 for
I
the other
mean-
side, and that's it, man. I think he was, like pepper spray using that, like doing that with the red cards. It sounds like it.
So for those that may not know, this was in the qualification for the semi. So this was the last quarterfinal matchup, Blooming and Torres Oruro. So Blooming gets the draw. They get into the semi, and you had fights at the end of the match, started by the home side. You get the police intervening. You get tear gas to disperse near the tunnel leading to the dressing room. You get the fight going from the field onto the track. And so you end up with 2 players for the home side and their coach, and they start the fight. And then you go from there. You had restraint, and you had 20 police officers intervening to prevent the violence from escalating using tear gas that affected both sides. Insults continue. Coach calms his players down, go to the locker room. The draw angers the home side, who almost got the penalties. And so Oruro pressed their opponents, and then they didn't quite get there. But Blooming advanced, and this was at Real Oruro, and you had 17 red cards in the match. And it was dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, tear gas and cops and everything. And it was crazy. What are you calling this weekend?
We're calling the Benfica game. We're calling also the second leg finals in Uruguay. Nacional. This is the Gran Parque Central in Nacional's home turf. The first leg was all for Nacional, and Peñarol managed to came up out of nowhere to score those 2 goals. But Nacional was the better team on the pitch. So we'll see what happens in Gran Parque Central. We'll see what happens on Sunday. But it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
And we will be,
I can tell you that.
We will be keeping an eye on it with you on GOLTV. Love you very much, my friend. Be safe. Enjoy the crowds for the Copa Libertadores. It's going to be crazy. Take a lot of pictures and buy some gear. We love you very much. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Johnny. Take care, guys.
There goes Nino Torres, GOLTV. And so, yeah, it was kind of busy in South America this week. But it's always great to catch up with our friend Nino Torres when we can and find out what's going on with everything going on there in South America. Before we go, a couple of other things. And we got to go over what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And we got to go over your brackets in NCAA Division I because that's kicking back in this weekend, pardon the pun. Also on the board, it looks like it is Chivas and Chivas and Rayados are now in the fight, according to Cesar Luis Merlo, to chase after the Chicago Fire's Brian Gutierrez. And so, according to our friends at Super Deportivo, Chivas making a formal offer to try and sign Gutierrez, although Monterrey also want him. And so a few days ago, it was revealed by AM that Rayado's interested in having Gutierrez as a reinforcement, sent an offer to buy the contract. And although the offer is good, it's not what the Fire have asked for. Chivas' offer very similar to the one made by Monterrey. Chivas management awaiting a response from the American club. According to Super Deportivo, both Rayados and Chivas are close to the asking price set by Chicago Fire. According to the article, these 2 clubs are the closest to signing him, although a third option is not ruled out, as the player has, and this is from the copy, has gained relevance on the market prior to the clausura of Liga MX. At the beginning of November, Gutierrez obtained his Mexican passport since his parents are from the country, although the player was born in the U.S. Therefore, Gutierrez would not occupy a foreign roster spot. 22 years old, and it was just under 2,400 minutes, 35 matches, 11 goals, 4 assists. And so he now has his Mexican passport, and he now has teams chasing after him, according to Cesar Luis Merlo, teams plural, when it comes to taking Brian Gutierrez and Chicago Fire moving him on to Liga MX. Okay, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, and then we will get ready for the weekend and get you ready for anything and everything going on. Back at it again on Monday. Once again, remember, it's going to be the same cast of characters. We're coming out of conference finals and getting you ready for everything there. It's going to be Abe. It's going to be Bart because we have U.S. women's friendlies to discuss and this particular camp. And we'll get you ready for the weekend as well. Also, Steve DeCoux, the head coach at Georgia Gwinnett, as they get ready on a match day for their match in the NAIA Men's Nationals. We're going to catch up with Coach DeCoux before his match. We'll catch up with him in the morning, I imagine, right out of the breakfast bar before his match that afternoon. All right, so here's what to look at for today. What to look out for today. Let's see. BNB and Espanol, you have the Polish League and the French League. You can get to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here, and it helps them out, helps us out, helps you out. Continue to add to the leagues that you may not have been watching, and now you can. FS2 has a doubleheader with a Saudi King Cup. I don't know what the competition's based on. It's a doubleheader for the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote. That's on FS2 doubleheader. ESPN Deportes, La Liga at 3 o'clock. ESPN Plus, you have couple of matches. You got one at 12:30 and then two late night. Women's A-League is also late night Eastern time. Bundesliga at 2:20, Bundesliga B at 12:30, La Liga is at 3. Paramount Plus is Serie A at 2:45. CONMEBOL Nations League on FS2 at 6, Paraguay and Uruguay. The USA-Italy International Friendly is at 7, simulcast on Universo and HBO Max, as well as on Peacock. Also on the board, Fox Soccer Plus has CONMEBOL Nations League at 4 and 6. Paramount Plus has UEFA Nations League at 2:30 and 3:10. Germany, Spain, France, and Sweden. Saturday, these are just the leagues. Girona Real Madrid is at 3 o'clock. BN has the French League and Copa Sudamericana. Palmeiras and Flamengo, it's at 4. That's when their coverage starts on BN. CBS Sports Network has the English Championship, a doubleheader. FS2 more King Cup. USA has a triple header with matches in the Premier League, 10, 12:30, and 3. BN and Espanol simulcasting Liga and Americana. ESPN Deportes quadruple header in La Liga. Fox Deportes, Serie A, and Liga MX about 13 hours apart. GOLTV, Nacional Benfica, as our buddy Nino Torres said, 1 o'clock start. Gil Vicente and Tondela is at 3:30. Telemundo, Liga MX, Tigres and Tijuana as they are in the playoffs after the end of the season. Tuda NA has a triple header, and it is Sábado Futbolero, América Monterrey, Toluca Juárez, and Tigres and Tijuana. Universo has the triple header simulcast in the Premier League, plus Tigres and Tijuana simulcast Univision, 6 and 8 simulcasting in Liga MX. Apple TV and MLS Season Pass, they're pushing it to 6:15 and 9:15. So we've gone from 8 minutes to 10 minutes, from 10 minutes to 12, and now we're in conference finals, so now we're at a 15-minute pregame. ESPN Plus on Saturday. A-League, Bundesliga, Bundesliga B, La Liga 2. Fox Soccer Plus, Serie B in the morning, more King Cup in the afternoon. NBCSports.com simulcasting the Premier League. Paramount Plus has 5 matches in the English Championship, including Wrexham at 10. AFC Wimbledon, League 1, 10 o'clock against Huddersfield. Serie A, quadruple header. Liga MX, double header. Kilmarnock and Dundee at 12:45. Peacock, Premier League, 2 matches at 10. And Liga MX, Tigres and Tijuana at 10. Women's side on Saturday, A-League at noon. England and China in a friendly at 12:30. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Now, colleges. Before we get out of here, it is the rundown of the women's bracket Division I. 5 o'clock this afternoon, it's Ohio State and Florida State. Stanford and Michigan State. Those are happening this afternoon at 5. 4 o'clock this afternoon, Duke and Washington. 7:30 tonight, TCU and Vanderbilt. And so those winners will advance to the national semifinals in Division I, and that is going to be on December the 5th before the championship, and College Cup on December the 8th, and that's when we will catch up with Jen Hildreth in addition to Jen and KCD. So that is women's soccer Division I. Then you have Division II coming up this weekend. Sunday at 1, Shepherd and Westchester. Sunday at 3, Florida Tech Nova Southeastern. Sunday at noon, Jefferson Franklin Pierce. Sunday at 3, Lander and Lenore Rhine. So you're in the grade 8 there. And then you get into quarterfinals and semifinals. Also at 2 o'clock Eastern on Sunday, Washburn and St. Cloud. 4 Eastern, Dallas Baptist and UCCS. It is 2 o'clock, Maryville, Missouri, and Missouri St. Louis. 6 o'clock, Azusa Pacific tomorrow, and Cal Poly Pomona. So that will start and roll into your semifinals and your championship in Division II. For Division III, and once again, this is where we follow Emory. And Emory, they are good to go until the national semifinals next week on the 4th. WashU and University of Chicago, and Tufts and Emory. So 3 of the 4 teams are out of the UAA, 2 of them playing each other in one semi. Emory gets Tufts in the other. That is on the 4th of December, 3 o'clock and 6:30. We'll cover Emory more next week. We'll cover the NAIA next week as well. Remember, Thursday, we're gunning for our Superpalooza Hours of Chaos, looking at MLS Cup with hopefully our friends from Apple TV. As many of them that can come in and crash during the show, we're going to cover that on Thursday. Friday, it is our live coverage of the draw day for everybody to figure out your pots, your favorite teams, who you've got, what the group stage is. We're going to be live wall-to-wall all day. I'm going to be at Benchwarmers in Decatur doing the morning show from 9:05 till about 11. And then from there, hand off to Jason and Maddie. They're going to be at Brewhouse. They're going to be at Brewhouse for a while. They're going to be there to set up the draw. Then the draw is going to go down, and then they're going to be for the reaction after the draw. They're going to be there live at Brewhouse as well. So it's going to be a full day at Brewhouse starting a week from today. The show live from Benchwarmers downtown Decatur to lay things out for you. It's going to be a busy day for us next week when it comes to what you're staring at. Thursday and Friday will get you ready for MLS Cup, get you ready for the draw, get you ready for World Cup, and all of the things and all points in between. Men's soccer, just to let you know what's going on, looking at the bracket in the NCAAs in Division I, today being the 28th, 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, Hofstra and Furman. Matty Cruz will be on the call there for NCAA and ESPN+. Duke and Akron Sunday at 4. Grand Canyon and Portland Saturday night at 10. Bryant and St. Louis Sunday at 6. Then you have Washington and Stanford Sunday at 8. Saturday, Georgetown and High Point at 5. Saturday, UConn and Maryland at 1. Sunday, NC State and UNC Greensboro at 6. And then those folks proceed to the national semifinals Division I on the 12th. And the national championship on the men's side is on the 15th. Division II men, before we go, once again, Sunday at 3, Southern New Hampshire, Charleston, West Virginia. Sunday at noon, Flagler and Rollins. Sunday at 4, Franklin Pearson Gannon. Sunday at 1, Lynn and Mississippi College. Then Sunday at 2, Fort Hays and Rockhurst. Sunday at 6, Stanislaus and Midwestern State of Texas. Sunday at 3, Rogers State, Lincoln, Missouri. Saturday at 4, UCCS going for the double, taking on Point Loma. And then everyone will gravitate toward the semifinals on the 12th. And once again, the championship in Division II is on the 14th. Division III, before we get out of here, it is familiar foes for us, Trinity and Emory. That's going to be on the 5th at 6:30 after Tufts and St. Olaf. So that's your Final Four in Division III. The 5th and the 7th, and that's when your champions are going to be crowned in Division III on the men's side. I think that's a day, and I think that's a week. Hopefully, everyone may the days of may Black Friday be all the shopping that you're looking for. Get everything done. Get ready for the day. Get ready for the weekend. Stay warm. Keep an eye on your pets. Keep an eye on your plants. Keep an eye on your people. Please do that. Now, once again, remember, Monday, it's going to be catching up with Abe, Steve DeCou at Georgia Gwinnett on a match day. Then it's going to be Bart on women's soccer, the US WNT, cards and calls from the weekend and anything else going on. And we'll get you ready for MLS Cup. We'll start that coverage. We'll go back over MLS Cup and everything else that happened on the weekend. We'll get you ready for everything. Once again, Thursday's the free-for-all promoting MLS Cup. Friday, we're going to get you ready for the draw. We're going to start early. Maddie and Jason are going to be at the brew house most of the day. It's going to be a fun day across the board. So to thank everyone from this week, thanks to Nino for surviving the Wi-Fi in Peru. Thanks to Life University, Meg McGonigle on the women's side, Alex Palma on the men's side. Thanks to Nico Moreno for hanging out with us on Wednesday. Thanks to Sharon Bolenbach, the executive director for the Toronto Host City Committee for the World Cup in 26. with her interview, and we were able to catch up with her. Once again, thanks to KCD, thanks to Kaylor Hodges, thanks to Bart Keeler, thanks to Abe Gordon, thanks to all of our guests this week, and thanks to you for being a part of everything here on SDH. It is the end of a week, which means one thing and one thing only. We get you ready to stay warm and be good. We'll catch up with you before you know it and back at it again beginning of the week. High school playoffs tonight. We'll see what happens tonight. gpb.org and the GPB Sports app. It'll be me wearing a little makeup. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha platial. It's the end of the week, so we go here. Be good.
The keys on the typewriter had sharp points that kept sticking into our fingers. The dictating equipment started asking us questions, and our beepers sent electric shocks just through our body like a cattle prod. Out in the warehouse, the trucks kept banging into the docks, not even thinking about stopping. Oh, our frail bodies were strapped to the chairs, and our chairs were chained to the desks. Our pleas for justice were ignored, and the end seemed near. But we busted our slave drivers' little bitty balls. We've charged out of their brick fortress. The streets are